Good morning. Today we're going to do a video on a 2001 Gsxr-r 1000. The fuel pump is bad. I got to clean the tank, change the motor on the pump. Alright, as you see, this is the fuse box right here. There's a relay. There's a little Phillips head. I'm going to remove that. As we look in here, we'll see ignition, heads on, signal, fan, fuel. Okay, so that would be the third one right there, that 10. It's a good fuse. We'll put it aside. I already removed the hardware for the tank and the seat. With that, we'll remove the seat. Now I'm going to lift the tank. Oh, this is the bar that comes with it. Now we got to disconnect the power. I'm going to disconnect the fuel line off the rail. Yeah, this one's easier to get to. Now you see no pressure, nothing. Right here, our power. I'm going to disconnect that. You'll see there's a little tab. Take a close look. That's disconnected. Now this tank is free. Now I got to just take the hardware off and remove the tank. Alright, let's lower the tank. We disconnected the power. Alright, now with 12 millimeter, as I pointed out, you got 2 bolts. Not bad. There's 2. I want to get as much fuel out as possible. Nah, there ain't much fuel in here. I thought I got most of it out. Shoot them right up. That easy. Now, if you want, at this point, you can take some pictures so you know where everything is. Now, and there's your pump. I'm going to put it on the bench. I got a kit, and we're going to rebuild it. All right, we have the fuel pump out. I've had it out once before, so I could order my parts. I have it out. We're going to take it apart. First thing is to remove these connections. 7 millimeter wrench. Be careful with this, they could break. And like I said, this was a part, that's why it's clean. With that, I got 2 of them off. Now for the final one. Alright, we got our 3 washers and our 3 nuts. I'm going to write a little 1. I'm going to put a 2 and a 3. Little needle nose. You see I got 3, a 2, and a 1 written on it. Be careful, this stuff is fragile. Yeah, it's an old bike, an 01. Lots going on. Now we put this up. And it's always good to take pictures. This is for your fuel gauge. It's all disconnected. You'll see there's this guide here. Pull that out. There's one over here, we'll pull that out. And with a nice size screwdriver, work it up. You gotta remember there's an O-ring in there. But with a nice size screwdriver, it's not bad. And there it is. You can still see this was redone, but there's still rust and everything in its place. With that, we're going to clean this filter, check the motor, and then put it back together. This is the pressure regulator. That's all that is. Like I said, we're going to clean the screen. Usually what goes bad is this filter. So with that, we're going to clean the filter. Okay. Okay, with some compressed air. All right, we got that all cleaned. Now what I see is going on here is this lead was broke. What I'm going to do is test it and let's see if this thing runs. If it runs, we don't need to replace the motor. With this power probe, we should be able to see what's going on. Here's our ground. Okay, now she works. This is what the problem was, is broke. That's a good pump. We know it works. Our filter has just been replaced, but this did not work because of this broken lead. What we will do is clean up everything, put it back together, and fix that wire. I'll take a little lube. Put it on that O-ring. And let's slide this back together. That's the broken lead. You see the way that goes? Now let's take this, slide it in there. Get that on there. Everything got to be perfect. Here's the lock. You'll hear it snap. You can see the way everything looks square on here. Nice. You know this is the longer side. Let's squarely put this together. Manipulate it a little bit. Now you see this is the O-ring we greased up. Let's just put it back together and see what we got. All right, clip goes here. Spin it. Clip goes here. And you'll notice they got stops on them. If these don't line up or you're fighting with them, you don't have it together right. This is for our fuel gauge. Be careful with these wires. There we go. A little tilt. Not too bad. Now if you see, this hole lines up perfect. This is the wire that goes here, and then these two. What we want to do is lock this in place. Now you see the way that lines up nice. I'm going to leave this a little loose so this stuff can move around for our wires. That's it right there. We'll tighten that up later. Let's go to the other side. You'll see the wires pretty much can only go one way. Only thing left are these 3 wires. This has the 3 and this has the 2. Alright. This is where you gotta take your time. Now this had to go through here, down here, and to there. So what we're gonna have to do, let's make sure it works still. And this is the power. She's all good. We gotta fix that connection. We checked it, it works. This is no good. Let's cut that off. All right, there's that. That we got a connection. I'm gonna put it in here. All right, that's nice. Now I'm gonna connect this to here and give us a little room to work with. Cut a piece of heat shrink. I'm going to take that, slide it through here. Now this is the piece that we are going to connect. Let's twist it up nice. Touch of flux. I just find it cleans it nice. I got my gun, I got some wire. Oh yeah, she's hot enough, so I'm going to put this just like that. Now that's connected. Now we got our heat shrink. Now with the heat gun, this heat shrink is the best. With that, you'll see we got a beautiful seal. We got a new one. Now we got this wire. Okay. That's why I said keep this loose so you get your wires in and out of here nice. We'll tighten up everything later. Remember the lock washer and the nut. Just try to get a hand start. It's small. And you gotta have patience. Don't be in a rush. Take my 7mm. And it's going to take a little bit. This is the power, so this was where the problem was. The connection was broken. When I got this bike, it was non-started. The tank was rusty. It took a few shots. Nice and patient. You want that just to bend. You don't want it getting into this one. Now this one I'm going to loosen up. and put my washer on it now. All right, that's in place. There's the washer is there. All right, there we go. I got a 7mm nut. Like I said, I left them loose. I got the hardest one was this power, and that's the one that really counts. These two here are for your fuel gauge. When you take yours apart, you'll see. You will be doing some repair work. But they want $800 for a new one. You can buy kits between $25 and $40 to repair these. As long as the motor works. If the motor don't work, you replace the motor. But the problem with this one was the power. All right, we got that tight, we got that tight. So I got this last lock washer. Nice and tight. There's your wires. Okay, let's tighten this Phillips. That holds the pump in the frame. Now we'll test it again. With this power probe, makes life easy. Let's go right to the ground, which we know is right here. Our pump is working. Now we know we got a good pump. We'll install it, and you see how easy it was to resolve this pump. The problem ended up to be this connection, the power. So now what we did was we cleaned the filter, we'll put it back together, and we'll have a running bike. All right, now I'm going to put the fuel pump back in the tank for the GSX-R. I'll put a little grease. I did both sides of this O-ring seal. Now I'm going to slide the pump in. I indexed it here and on the tank when I took it out before we rebuilt it. Went in beautiful. Now hand start. Now I'll go with the gun. Little star pad. I don't want to go too hard. I'm going to finish it with my ratchet. There we go. Now to install this on the motorcycle. I'll line it up. Get these back hardware in place. We have two 12mm bolts to line up. All right, tank is installed. Now that we have the tank installed in the back, okay, there's that. Now to hook up the fuel line. You have this from the tank, and this is to your injector rail. What we want to do is just slide it over, just the way it came apart. You will see, center it, and she'll pop right in place. There's an O-ring in there. You'll see your gray clips in the back. And you'll hear it click. Now for our electrical connection. It's right here. That's right here. to lower the tank. Okay, we got the 1000. The fuel pump was done. Now we're going to do a startup. Bike's running really well. It's a 2001 1000, and now we're going to do a test ride. Let me rev it up once or twice.